CNN10 is kicking off its first 10-minute show of the week, and we're happy you're watching. I'm Carl Azus. Tensions are soaring in the European nation of Spain. On Friday, a region of northeast Spain formally declared its independence from the rest of the country, and shortly afterward, Spain's government invoked Article 155 of its constitution. What does all this mean? First, Catalonia. It's a relatively wealthy region of Spain. On October 1st, it held a controversial vote on whether to remain part of the country. Catalan officials say 90% of voters chose independence, but turnout was a low 43%. Spain's Supreme Court had called the vote illegal. It sent police to prevent voting in some places. Catalonia blamed the Spanish government and a heavy-handed police response for the relatively low voter turnout, but many Catalans did not support the vote or want Catalonia to be independent, and other European nations also appeared to oppose Catalan independence. Until now, Catalonia has had its own government. It controlled things like education, healthcare, the police force, and taxes. But it was still officially part of Spain. On Friday, Catalonia's parliament voted to formally declare independence from Spain, and shortly afterward, Spain's government invoked Constitutional Article 155, which means it's formally taking control of Catalonia. What happens next is anyone's guess. Catalonia's leader, Carles Puigdemont, has called for Catalans to oppose Article 155 and to move forward peacefully. But Spain's government says Puigdemont is no longer in power. This issue has deeply divided the nation of Spain, and the news outlets where many people get their information have been accused of being biased.
Journalists at TV3, Catalonia's public news station, never thought they'd become a part of the story, part of their own coverage of Catalonia's push for independence. But that's exactly what's happened after Spain's prime minister announced he's seizing control of Catalonia's public TV and radio station. Vicente Sanchis is the station's news director.
There is no justification for a government to intervene in public media.
The takeover, just one element of Madrid's plan to exert control over Catalonia under Article 155 of the Spanish Constitution. TV3 stands accused of being a propaganda tool in favor of Catalan President Carles Puigdemont and his campaign for independence. Is TV3 biased in favor of Puigdemont?
This is incredible. We're regulated by Parliament. We're not controlled by the government. We don't favour anyone. Even the doubt offends us.
Reporters Without Borders, a media watch group, tells a different story. In an October report, it writes TV3 has a clear bias in favor of the Catalan government. One example noticed by many Catalans, the anthem begins to play on Spain's national holiday, TV3 cuts back to the studio. This is considered a cultural slight. The station says it wasn't intentional. Reporters Without Borders is equally critical of the other side, Spain's national public media, TVE, saying it's biased in favor of Madrid. Some TVE employees have even protested its coverage of the crackdown on the October 1st referendum, saying the station purposefully downplayed the police violence. TVE declined to comment. The division's also apparent in print. Catalan papers' coverage of the recent general strike offering a very different picture than the papers out of Madrid. On October 1st, images of police violence spread like wildfire on Facebook and Twitter, shocking Europe and the rest of the world.
Many of those pictures have been proven to be fake pictures.
Really?
And that was, if there was any use of force, it was a limited one.
While some of the images shared were doctored, the very real violence of the day was well documented.
Catalan independence movement and the Catalan government has been running a PR campaign for a long time, and it's been very effective. I think the Spanish government was extremely slow to realize that it was losing a propaganda war that it wasn't even fighting.
A war the Spanish government now seems determined to win. The day after Article 155 is invoked, what happens to TV3?
We don't know yet how it will be executed. Obviously, we're very worried.
Anxiety now a common feeling on both sides of this deepening divide.
10-second trivia. Which U.S. president famously said, "Ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country"? Franklin D. Roosevelt, John F. Kennedy, Theodore Roosevelt, or Ronald Reagan? This quote was part of the 1961 inaugural address of President John F. Kennedy. Almost 54 years after he died, questions and conspiracy theories remain concerning the assassination of President Kennedy. A law enacted in 1992 aimed to put those questions to rest by requiring the U.S. government to release all of its documents related to the investigation. The date for that release was set for late last week, but though the Trump administration published more than 2,800 records, it kept about 300 files classified because national security agencies wanted them to remain secret. President Donald Trump says he hopes to get just about everything to the public. He's given the agencies 180 days to review their reasons for holding some files back, and he may release more after that time. But what's come to light? For one thing, U.S. intelligence intercepted a call that Kennedy's assassin, Lee Harvey Oswald, made to Russian intelligence less than 2 months before he killed Kennedy. Was Oswald working for Russia? Another file revealed that the FBI got a call warning that Oswald himself was a target the night before Jack Ruby shot him. Was there enough security? Unanswered questions about whether Oswald was connected to U.S. intelligence are included. And other topics, like a reported CIA attempt to hire mobsters to kill Cuban leader Fidel Castro, all of it came up in the files. Now, we're introducing you to a CNN hero named Max Levitt. He majored in sports management in college. He interned as the equipment manager for his college football team. And when he was told to throw out everything in the locker room, even gear that was barely used to make space for new equipment that was coming, he got the idea for leveling the playing field.
A lot of kids learn the importance of work ethic on the sports field. It gives kids a very valuable toolbox of experiences that they can pull from as they go through life.
Set, go!
Boom, there we go. Good job. Both of you. Do it again.
Sports were the most important part of my childhood. When I grew up, I felt it was a given for kids to play sports, but so many kids can't afford to play sports. There's millions of dollars of sports equipment that is not being put to use, that is either being thrown away or wasting away in garages.
I'll put a T together.
And I thought, why don't we just create a food bank for sports equipment? It just seemed like an obvious answer. Every day we have folks come by here with cars full of equipment that they drop off, either from their garage or they ran a collection drive.
Still playing, or do they outgrow it, or?
They're playing college lacrosse.
This is well over $1 million worth of equipment in our warehouse. We got everything from golf clubs and tennis rackets, soccer balls, to bats, to cleats. We're donating it to Title I schools, charter schools.
I would take tennis rackets.
After-school youth programs like a Boys and Girls Club or a YMCA.
A smaller version of the tennis.
That's great.
They come into our warehouse and it's free shopping. Within an hour they leave with everything they need.
Look out! Go! What's the count?
Children want to be a part of something. We would much rather them have that community here than out there on the street. Before we met Max, we had to literally turn kids away. Once we reached a point where we didn't have any more equipment, we had to say, try again next year.
1, 2, 3, 7.
Past couple of years, we've gotten at least $15,000 worth of equipment from Max. It's been a tremendous help.
Let's go.
It seems really simple, but in reality, that passing on of that equipment can open up so many more opportunities for that kid.
I think about specific championships I won or great games I played. It was such a great part of my life. Knowing that I'm giving that to kids is an incredibly gratifying experience because it's so important.
One look at this and you might be thinking, that took a lot of work. And you'd be right. It's a stop-motion video featuring pumpkins. Yes, that's plural. Hundreds of them were used to make this. They were carved, gutted, positioned, repositioned, and photographed. And this isn't something that was tackled just this fall. The video took years to put together. And for a gut job, they did a pretty gourd job. It's something you'd have to see to believe. The fruit of their labor was pumpkin incredible, and it makes for a fine finish on CNN 10. Thanks for carving out 10 minutes for us. I'm Carvel Azus.